So it's the time of year again when film fans across the world are getting ready to binge some of their favourite Christmas flicks. But for me personally, there are lots of scenes from non-Christmas films that feel just as festive and striking as some of the classics. And so in celebration of the festive season, I've decided to make this alternate rundown of my 5 favourite non-Christmas films with Christmas scenes in them. I've tried to exclude grey area films that are set entirely at Christmas time, so no Eyes Wide Shut and no Die Hard. I've also excluded films with big showpiece Christmas scenes, so no Harry Potter, Meet Me in St. Louis, or Mean Girls. The films I've picked tend to just have a scene or two that happen to be taking place at Christmas. So sit back and enjoy the countdown. Number 5. Zodiac. David Fincher's obsessively perfect 2007 thriller details the hunt for the notorious Zodiac killer, who terrorized the San Francisco Bay Area in the 1960s and 70s. Taking place across such a huge span in time, the film has one scene in particular that takes place at celebrity lawyer Melvin Belli's lavish Christmas party. Inspectors Dave Toschi and Bill Armstrong pay a visit to question Belli about a call that he had received from someone claiming to be the Zodiac killer himself, and the Christmas cheer is suddenly put on ice. In a way, this scene captures a certain dynamic that I love about Fincher's thrillers, the sense of comfort and warmth of everyday domestic life being savagely cut through by the cold horror of psychopathy. Zodiac also contains a Christmas bonus feature, which comes in the form of a letter that the Zodiac writes, which is confirmed by his family members as they recall the odd way that he used to spell Christmas as Christ Mass with 2 S's. Number 4. The Godfather. There is an extended period of The Godfather that takes place over the Christmas season, but this being The Godfather, the festive cheer is just the background, in front of which a series of murders and assassination attempts take place. On this particular Christmas, Tom Hagen is going about his shopping in downtown New York. Vito is doing the groceries, while Michael and Kay are catching the latest Christmas time feature at Radio City Music Hall. All is warm and merry and beautifully filmed, but not dissimilar to Zodiac, this festive New York bliss is about to be shattered. First, Tom gets kidnapped, then comes the assassination attempt on Vito, and finally Michael gets sucked deeper into the murky world of the New York gangs. It's a great few minutes of filmmaking that have that little Christmas touch. Just a word of advice, when you greet your in-laws this year, maybe don't open with Sollozzo's choice of, "If I was gonna kill you, you'd be dead already." Number 3. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. A biting Cold War thriller that for me contains one of Gary Oldman's best performances. But nestled in the middle of the film is a fantastic Christmas office party scene that takes place in the heart of the British intelligence services. The film is set in the 70s and depicts several British agents trying to root out a Russian spy who walks amongst them. And yet, at this Christmas party, the workers of British intelligence burst into singing the Russian national anthem. And instead of Santa Claus, a big red Lenin comes to bring them their gifts. It's a brilliantly ironic scene that on the one hand is reflective of a sort of dark, ironic British sense of humour, and on the other foreshadows the blurred allegiances that many double agents within the ranks of Western spy agencies had at the time. Number 2. Boogie Nights. Another brilliant use of Christmas irony comes in several scenes at the nadir of Paul Thomas Anderson's Boogie Nights. It's Christmas 1983, and the golden age of the 70s adult film industry has well and truly passed. All the films are being shot on digital camcorders, the gang is no longer together, and drug addiction and money troubles are tearing their lives apart. PTA did a great job of creating an ebb and flow in tension throughout this film, and his use of the cheer of Christmas to contrast with the all-time lows of the characters is another example of why he's one of the best directors around. Number 1. Catch Me If You Can. Okay, so I bent the rules slightly for number 1 and included a film that has several big set-piece Christmas moments. Maybe when I think of Catch Me If You Can and its jet-setting, warm weather-loving protagonist Frank Abagnale, Christmas is not the first thing that comes to mind. And yet, on rewatching this film, it has Christmas so beautifully woven through it, like tinsel going through the branches of a Christmas tree. Our protagonist Frank is a brilliant criminal who steals the identities of various professionals and flies around the globe for free. But Frank, at his core, is actually a lost little boy who longs for nothing more than to have a stable family life. One of the most perfect moments he has ever experienced was seeing his father happily dancing with his mother to Christmas carols in their living room. But this perfect family story wasn't to be, as not long after, infidelity sets in and the marriage and family fall apart. It feels like this longing for a home, for a perfect American family Christmas, is what motivates Frank's desire to commit identity theft and to escape and jet set around the world. And the greatest irony is that the FBI agent who is tasked with catching him and locking him up, Carl Handratty, becomes the only person with whom he can share a sense of connection and even family during this time. While Frank is on the run, Carl is the only person in the world who seems to understand him. Every Christmas without fail, Frank reaches out to Carl, and they talk to each other about the case and everything else besides. They talk about family, about life and love, and Christmas with the kids. Frank's loneliness is palpable. And then the culmination. Carl chases Frank to the picturesque little French town at Christmas, where his parents first met. For Frank, this is some mad attempt to both continue his flight from the law and to indulge his Christmas fantasy that exists deep in his heart. The visuals here are picture-perfect Christmas, but the tragedy is that for Frank, this perfect family Christmas is, it seems, the stuff of fantasy. For me, this is Spielbergian storytelling at its best. It's warm, it's funny, it's engaging, and the Christmas theme ties it together beautifully. If you watch any non-Christmassy Christmas film this year, make it Catch Me If You Can. Alright, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please feel free to comment and share your alternate top 5 non-Christmas Christmas films. And thank you all for a great year on the channel. It's been really nice seeing it grow and being able to share all this analysis with you. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, and I wish you all the best for the new year.